Hello everyone, welcome back to Ansarkari. Today we will be covering the newspaper for 16th of December 2024. First of all, one nation, one election. The proposition for simultaneous elections for Lok Sabha and state assemblies. So here a new dimension has been discussed upon regarding how it is violating the democratic fundamentals. For example, will of the people and the basic structure of the constitution. So basically, we will be artificially reducing the term of the state assemblies after the midterm election. तो उसको कंसिडर किया जा रहा है कि इट विल बी अंडरमाइनिंग द पॉपुलर मैंडेट्स. लीगल और कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल चैलेंजेस में हाईलाइट किया गया है दैट देयर विल बी सीरियस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल चैलेंजेस जैसे कि पॉलिसी इंटरफेरेंस विद डेमोक्रेसी, फेडरलिज्म के कॉन्सेप्ट के ऊपर फोकस किया जा रहा है एंड ऑल्सो फेयर इलेक्शन प्रोसीजर. So federalism, Boumai case 1990s. So it has been emphasized here that synchronizing elections is infringing on the federal structure and it is weakening the regional representation. So many parties, for example, Congress and India bloc parties, the regional parties, they are opposing the policy of one nation, one election. And they are arguing that it will be centralizing the power and it will disrupt the regional governance. But then also there are different benefits of conducting one common nation regarding the administrative efficiency and also economic feasibility. Next is Sanganer Open Jail near Jaipur and how it is taking forward a unique concept of open jail. So Rajasthan's government has planned to build a hospital on Sanganer open jail's land, जिसकी वजह से there has been a legal conflict which is highlighting the importance and uniqueness of open prisons. तो open prison का जो concept है, it is basically defined in the Model Prisons and Correctional Services Act 2023. Open prisons are considered as minimum security facilities, जहाँ पे जो convicts हैं, they are allowed more liberty for rehabilitation and वो बाहर भी वेंचर आउट कर सकते हैं फॉर देयर जॉब्स एंड टू रीइंटीग्रेट इन दी सोसाइटी. करंटली इंडिया के अंदर 82 ओपन जेल्स हैं अक्रॉस 17 स्टेट्स which is holding approximately more than 4,000 prisoners. So Rajasthan is having the highest number of open jails, that is 41, then followed by Maharashtra. And Sanganer jail, open jail भी जो है, it was established in 1963. That makes it one of the world's most unique prisons. So key features यहाँ पे क्या है, क्यों unique है? That is, जो inmates हैं, they can live with their families and they can venture out for jobs. The facilities are also including a primary school, the Anganwadi services, and also self-governance. For example, Bandi Panchayats. The inmates are building their homes and are also paying for their utilities. So all these features makes it a unique concept. But जो Supreme Court bench है, it is emphasizing on balancing the need for open prison and the proposed hospital at the same land. So a commissioner has been appointed. He will be inspecting the site and also will be submitting a report. But the concept of open prison को हम लिख सकते हैं, डाइवर्सिफाई करने का एक तरीका हो सकता है. हाईएस्ट नंबर इन राजस्थान, देन फॉलोड बाय महाराष्ट्र. Then next is regarding new eastern routes and how they are cutting down the shipping time, the cost, and also are promising to boost the India and Russia's trade. So Eastern Maritime Corridor, which is the route is connecting Chennai to Vladivostok, and it is cutting the transport time to 24 days as compared to 40 days, which is via the existing and the traditional route, that is Mumbai to St. Petersburg route. So India is also importing commodities like crude oil, then coal, fertilizers, vegetable oils, and it is also exporting processed minerals, iron, steel, and tea. So it will become more efficient to adopt the Eastern Maritime Corridor. Then we are importing petroleum crude oil, about 16 million tons. And major exports are minerals, natural stones, and food products. So strategic advantage provide की जाएगी by the Eastern Maritime Corridor. The reduced shipping cost, the reduced time will increase the efficiency, and it will make the Russian crude oil more economically viable for the Indian refineries. Also, जो Russia है, it has become a major oil supplier to India after also offering discounts post 2022. सो स्ट्रैटेजिक रिलेशन जो है इंडिया एंड रशिया के बीच में और ज्यादा इनहेंस हो सकती है. एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी एंड मिलिट्री कोऑपरेशन को और ज्यादा हम इनहेंस कर पाएंगे विद द ईस्टर्न मैरीटाइम कॉरिडोर. सो दो इंपॉर्टेंट रूट हो गया ईस्टर्न मैरीटाइम कॉरिडोर, चेन्नई टू व्लादिवोस्टॉक, एंड देन ऑल्सो द एग्जिस्टिंग मुंबई टू सेंट पीटर्सबर्ग रूट. Then next, Morocco welcomes India defense companies to set up production units. And it is basically presenting itself as a gateway to Africa and Europe for the Indian companies. So, Morocco, wahan pe, it is being highlighted that it is promoting investor-friendly environment, and it is also including some free zones like Atlantic Free Zone, where the Indian companies will be encouraged and they can set up local manufacturing. For example, Tata Group is also working there, and bilateral trade between India and Morocco have reached $4 billion in 2023. So that becomes important. And the key exports from India to Morocco includes refined petroleum, chemical, and also India is importing phosphate from Morocco. So it is a unique opportunity for India. It is an opportunity for joint ventures, for transfer of technology, for new opportunities of procurement, and also a potential hub for Indian defense exports to Africa and as well as Europe. That can also be created via Morocco. The next, can we make black hole reveal themselves in echoes of light? So how the light echoes are caused by the black holes, and how can they help in determining their mass and the spin? So basically this is a new method for calculating that. So light echoes का concept क्या है? In simple, if we understand that it is basically a light which is passing around the black hole, जैसे कि हम देख सकते हैं, and इसमें bend form होते हैं because of the immense gravity of the black hole. But some of the beams are taking a direct path, and while others are looping, creating a loop around the black hole before reaching Earth. So this phenomena basically creates light echoes, जिसकी वजह से scientists can trace back the behavior of the black hole. So very long baseline interferometer VLBI will be used to measure the light echoes and will also be relying on multiple telescopes. For example, M87 black hole से data लिया गया and it was analyzed to infer its mass and spin. So Einstein's theory of relativity becomes important here, which predicted that light echoes are achromatic, which means they are independent of the frequency, and they offer a clearer signal to noise ratio as compared to observing matter around the black hole. So it is a more precise way to learn about the spin and the mass of the black hole. So light echoes is basically a new method जिसके through we can study black hole, the properties of the black hole, and also we can increase our understanding about these objects. Then next, single mothers after school program. It and how it is helping the quality of life for tribal children. So Kajar Mitra is a single mother who is running an after school program in Pune's tribal areas. Main focus, there are two main focuses. to improve the education and the quality of life for underprivileged. So Mitra, it is inspired by NGOs and books, and then she has launched the program Lohe Gaon in Lohegaon, Pune, to help these children from tribal laborer families whose mothers often work at stone cutters, other menial jobs. Then they are facing extreme poverty and lack of access to education. So quality education can be provided. And basically एक example हो सकता है कि grassroots level पे हम कैसे work कर रहे हैं and how they are acting as an extended arm of the government. Academic subjects like computer skills develop करना, academic conceptual clarity लेके आना, also creative activities, for example exhibition, concert and play to uplift the mood and uplift the confidence of the children. So but इसके साथ ही कुछ challenges भी face किए गए हैं, for example personal losses or adopting a child without societal support, how to balance between the manage the center and raising funds also to help the tribal children who are pursuing higher education. So एक basic primary level पे तो आपके लिए feasible हो सकता है, but higher education college के लिए how will you be supporting that? उसके लिए funds की जरूरत होगी. जो scholarship programs हैं जो government के through provide किए जाते हैं उनका basically linkage होना बहुत ज़्यादा जरूरी है. तो education, skill building, then इम्प्रूविंग द क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ एंड ऑल्सो हेल्थ केयर, बहुत सारी चीजों को एड्रेस किया जा रहा है. एंड जो सिस्टमैटिक इशू है जैसे मैल न्यूट्रिशन, लैक ऑफ एजुकेशन, पॉवर्टी अमंग दी स्पेसिफिकली दी ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी, उसको हम टैकल कर रहे हैं. सो ये दिखाता है कि कितना इंपॉर्टेंट रोल होता है एनजीओज का. देन इक्वेशन कॉम्प्लेक्स एंड इक्विलिब्रियम इन बोथ इंडिया एंड चाइना's इंटरेस्ट. So here we are talking about the complex relationship of India and China and how they are changing in absolute and relative terms globally and how important it is to balance the relationship. So there are border disputes, that is LAC issue, which is still unresolved, but both the nations, they have agreed on patrolling agreements to make sure we can achieve peace in coming future. So India's ties with Russia is also vital, despite the Western pushback following the Russian-Ukraine conflict. जो Russia है, it continues to play a unique role in India's foreign policy. Also, India is importing 16 billion tons of petroleum crude oil from Russia, and हमने different routes की भी आज बात की. So India is expanding its ties with Canada, Indonesia, Australia, and then also it is fostering new economic partnerships in Europe and Eurasia. So our external affairs minister S J Shankar, he is also emphasizing that India must navigate relationships with countries like US, which remains large and important, and Europe, which is focusing on supply chains and then transfer of technology, the digital technologies. These two must be the focus point for India. Then an unraveling in Syria. Crisis could mean the decline of Iranian and Russian influence in Levant with rising American and by extension Israel who has captured the Golan Heights region and what is at the stake in the region. So the Syrian conflict it basically date back to 2011 where when the Arab Spring was going on in the Middle East. जो सीरिया है it descended into civil war where the regional powers were acting and then also global powers like Iran, Russia, US, Turkey are involved. So President Bashar al-Assad's regime, it was backed by Russia and Iran, and now currently now it is being weakened with HTS, that is Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, by gaining the military dominance. So global implications are on the regional stability and as well as on the concerns for the extended region. And India is a re-emergence of the for India, the re-emergence of the Islamic militancy, it could also complicate the security in the region, like for Kashmir. The stand of India remains critical. India का stand इसमें basically है for maintaining stability, inclusivity, maintaining stability, inclusivity, maintaining stability, inclusivity, and also maintaining the territorial integrity. So fall of Assad and the rise of HTS, they are raising basically deeper questions on the global security. The threat of Islamist militancy is there. With the collapse of Assad's regime, the sudden fall or the sudden collapse of the, for example, the government of Afghan in 2021, which was driven by internal weakness and also poor military responses. Also, the concept of or the challenge of Syria becomes very complicated because also the major global powers are involved here. So, the regional dynamics, including Russia, Iran, US, Turkey, and Israel, it is not just only related to the regional peace, but it is extended to all over all around the world. So global terrorism could revive. They are the challenges on the international security also. So stand of India is regarding three things that India focuses on. India asserts for inclusivity and for territorial integrity in the region. So regional stability becomes a question in the near future here. And also the situation and the position of not achieving stability even now in Syria, it is highlighting a threat of terrorism. So it becomes very important that as well. Next, Pakistan's economic crisis. Will IMF's 7 billion bailout stabilize the economy, stem youth exodus? So Pakistan is facing an economic crisis regarding the economy also, that is a 7 million IMF bailout, which is very important for them for stability, also brain drain and unemployment. So the World Bank had recently cancelled a 500 million loan because Pakistan failed to meet the conditions. Now it is trying to secure, Pakistan also secured a 7 billion IMF loan with tough reforms, also including tax hikes and cuts in exemptions. So over 1 million workers have left Pakistan since 2008, which is basically contributing to brain drain. Unemployment is high, female unemployment rate is specifically rising. Role of Chinese investment is there. IMF conditions also requires halting the incentives for Chinese investment. For example, in CPEC, Special Economic Zone, तो वहाँ पे halt करना होगा. And Chinese investment in in Pakistan has reduced from 20 to 25% in last year. So a sustained growth, economic improvement is very important. Structural reforms are very important for Pakistan. And basically high taxes and unequal distribution will be worsening the Pakistan's economic challenge. Next, northeastern region के लिए Northeast Investor Summit. From looking east, we are moving towards acting east, and जो northeast है, it is the Ashtalakshmi, and it has the potential to drive India's progress, as stated by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. And the major focus areas of the summit will be agri-food processing sector and allied sector, IT and ITES, entertainment and sports sector, tourism. We can also promote ecotourism, non-conventional tourism, hospitality, textiles, the unique textiles of northeastern region, handlooms and handicrafts, Then also healthcare, energy, education, and skill development. So these are the unique aspects which we will be focusing on regarding acting on East policy. So pioneer for urban design, that is Ranjit Sabiki. उनका क्या रोल रहा है? He has passed away, leaving behind a legacy for innovative city planning. So for example, Yamuna Apartments in Delhi, कम्युनिटी स्पेसेस के ऊपर उन्होंने एम्फोसाइज किया, ऑर्गेनिक डिजाइन होना चाहिए. इसके साथ साथ उनका फिलॉसफी ये रहा है कि हमें हमेशा बैलेंस करना चाहिए आर्किटेक्चर को विद द सोशल नीड्स एंड द एक्सेसिबिलिटी ऑफ द पब्लिक स्पेसेस. He also believed that there is a need to evolve the ecosystem in the cities and holistic design होना चाहिए and it must be reflecting the reality of the urban life. So sustainable urban environment पे वो focus करते थे. Then the wage challenge. India's wage problem, the challenges between employers and the workers. So regulatory burden का एक करंट चैलेंज यहाँ पे हाईलाइट किया जा रहा है that India's wages are suffering due to the regulatory burdens, due to distrust of the businesses, and due to poor alignment between the ideas and executions. Also different factors जैसे कि global uncertainty, geopolitically uncertainty है, low productivity है, regional disparity है, which is also worsening the age gap. So solutions इसके लिए क्या हो सकते हैं? It can be reducing the regulatory burden, simplifying the laws, improving the ease of business, then also digital technologies का use करना ताकि compliance processes को आप और productive बना पाएं. साथ में job creation होना जरूरी है, specifically in non-farm sector. Skill development होना जरूरी है. There is need for long-term planning, rationalization of the policies. So addressing the wage challenge via the streamlined policies, it becomes important in job creation, skill development for enhancing India's economic growth and also just stability in the workplaces. Then does the POSH Act apply to political parties? And here is what you should know. So POSH Act, Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Act 2013, it applies to whether it applies to political parties or not. So current scenario की बात करते हैं तो political parties they basically lack a defined workplace structure या फिर जो proper employer and employee relationship होता है, it is lacking that. That makes the application of POSH Act uncertain on the political parties. So court and the election commission, they are yet to clarify that how POSH Act will be applying to the party workers. And basically जो एक definition दिया गया है of workplace of employee under the act, तो वो एक broad definition consider करता है, but उसको हो सकता है कि हम और extend कर दें for providing protection. Then political parties, they would need to establish an internal complaint committee if they are deemed to apply, if they are deemed applicable under the POSH Act. So currently जो political parties है, they handle the disciplinary action through their internal committees. But वहाँ पे challenges arise हो रहे हैं because they are lacking mechanism which is equivalent to ICC. That is internal complaints committee. If POSH would be applicable, that will be established. So moral conduct is important, but challenges regarding sexual harassment and the complaints. So basically जो पूरा process है उसको formalize करने के लिए applicable application of POSH Act is important here. But a definite workspace and employee and employer definition is not present for political parties. That is why it is not being applicable right now. So wheat, edible oil, and also inflation in India due to low domestic stocks, production uncertainty, and uncertainty in the geopolitical, in the global factors. So India's wheat stocks are at their lowest since 2007 to 8, which is leading to higher market prices. Then there are also factors of poor yield and also the increasing consumption. So wheat imports, they may become inevitable in case to stabilize the prices, with the Russian and Australian wheat being cost sensitive. Same regarding the edible oil scenario, where Indonesia की बात अगर करते हैं तो biodiesel blending mandate जो है, it has diverted significant palm oil for domestic use, which is also increasing the global prices. So food versus fuel fight is visible here, and palm oil, it remains the cheapest and most widely used vegetable oil in India. So we are highly reliant on the imports, and the also the prices of soya bean and sunflower oil हम देख सकते हैं कि rise कर रहा है due to global production shortfall. So high wheat and high oil prices, they are typically worsening the inflation, and they are impacting the household food cost. So ये भी एक challenge create करेगा in the food security sector. Santa Ana, क्या रोल रहा है of Santa Ana winds and climate change in the Malibu wildfires? The fire has continued for a number of days. The Santa Ana winds are blowing when high pressure is building over the Great Basin. Great Basin, that is the area between Rocky Mountains and Sierra Nevada in the western United States region. So differences in the pressure, they are triggering the movement of powerful winds. And as the winds were coming down the mountains, it was compressed and it was bringing the heat. So the humidity of the winds was also dropping, and sometimes less than 20%. So winter weather pattern जो है, it allows high pressure to build near the surface of the Great Basin, जिसकी वजह से उनका जो इंटरेक्शन है with the low pressure area वो होता है over the Pacific region. So the wildfires were driven by these winds only, and they are considered as a natural part of the California's landscape. So not only by the anthropogenic factors, but also by heat waves, by role of such high pressure winds can also be the source of big wildfires. India's firmer attempts at mineral diplomacy, mineral security, but there are still challenges like global uncertainty and also high dependency of India for certain minerals on other countries, specifically China की बात करते हैं. So strategic partnership, India has been signing joint ventures with new countries like Australia, Argentina, Kazakhstan, specifically for the critical minerals जैसे कि lithium and cobalt. So Kabil का important role आता है on securing the mineral supplies for domestic needs. So global corporation, for example, multilateral frameworks जो existing है जैसे कि Quad, IPEF, then also G7, they will become important for collaboration and for securing a position in global mineral supply chain for India. So recent agreement जैसे कि Central Asia countries के साथ एंड ऑल्सो लैटिन अमेरिकन कंट्रीज के साथ, वो यही सिग्निफाई करता है कि इंडिया का जो लॉन्ग टर्म स्ट्रैटेजी है वो डाइवर्सिफाई करने पे अभी फोकस कर रहा है. बट जो प्राइवेट सेक्टर है उसका भी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल आता है, एंड इनसफिशिएंट कहीं ना कहीं डिप्लोमेटिक कैपेसिटी देखी गई है जो कि मिनरल डिप्लोमेसी को एक फुट बैक लेके जा रही है. तो कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रैटेजी जरूरी है ताकि हम डोमेस्टिक नीड्स को एंड इंटरनेशनल एफर्ट्स को दोनों को अलाइन कर पाए, and in the longer term, in the longer run, we can basically ensure the mineral security. सो एक डेडिकेटेड मिनरल डिप्लोमेसी डिवीजन भी बनाया गया है विद इन द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स, विच इज सिमिलर टू न्यू एंड इमर्जिंग स्ट्रेटेजिक टेक्नोलॉजीज डिवीजन, जो कि एक स्पेशल पोजीशन होल्ड करेगा फॉर मिनरल डिप्लोमेसी एंड डिप्लोमेटिक मिशंस के लिए उसको सिलेक्ट किया गया है। सो ये दिखाता है कि इंडिया का जो गोल है टूवर्ड्स द मिनरल सिक्योरिटी, उसके लिए जरूरी है स्ट्रैटेजिक, सस्टेनेबल एंड ट्रस्टेड पार्टनरशिप्स बनाना, both on the bilateral and on the multilateral aspect. So digital frontier of inequality. So how the technology is playing role in different challenges, जैसे कि gender based violence की हम यहाँ पे बात करते हैं, which is technology facilitated, and कैसे उसके साथ हम डील करेंगे। सो इंडिया फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल is having 1.18 billion mobile connections, 700 million internet users, 600 million smartphones are being used. But the challenge of sensitive issues, for example, gender-based violence, they are becoming a threat and they are overshadowing the gains which we are getting from the technology. So initiatives, for example, JAM, that is Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile, through which we are trying to empower women. We are creating a safe online space. But also there are challenges of cyber stalking, of trolling, of impersonation. And it becomes very sensitive in the regions जहाँ पे इनके बारे में उतना ज़्यादा awareness नहीं है. So rural women also, they are facing additional barriers. They are having low digital literacy. There is lack of awareness, and there is lack of awareness about the redressal mechanism, about what to do in that case when your data has been misused. So programs like Digital Shakti and also legal protection under the IT Act 2000, they become the core to address these technology facilitated gender based violence. Collaboration with the tech platforms, collaboration with international frameworks become important for enhancing the safety. So there is also need for stricter laws for promoting digital literacy on the grassroots level, and also we can use the technology to create awareness about the challenges of technology. So we can also use social media platforms, and we can promote more accountable and judicious use of technology here. Also, for the victims who are being targeted, a support system is very important. Counseling should be there, helplines should be provided, and then only we can say कि we can strengthen India's fight against the digital violence. So Tech Sakhi एक हेल्पलाइन का एग्जाम्पल होता है जहाँ पे एक्यूरेट इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड किया जाता है, एम्पैथेटिक सपोर्ट इज प्रोवाइडेड एंड ऑल्सो असिस्टेंस टू द सर्वाइवर्स. Global Digital Compact, which has been adopted by the world leaders, also including India. This becomes important in the as a role to be played in the international collaborations. 20%. In rural India, it accounts for 20% more internet users than the urban areas. तो ये शोकेस करता है कि जो वल्नरेबल पॉपुलेशन है कहीं ना कहीं, जो रूरल एरियाज है स्पेसिफिकली, वहां पे अवेयरनेस क्रिएट करना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. डिजिटल लिटरेसी प्रोग्राम्स लेके आना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है. सेफ ऑनलाइन प्रैक्टिसेस क्या हैं, उनको आप कैसे प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं, उनको हमें इंटीग्रेट करना चाहिए विद द स्कूल करिकुलम्स. We should be conducting community workshops for both the women, men, and also for the young and the old, so that we can empower them. So, respectful and inclusive digital spaces must be created. How would a carbon market function? So, the concept of carbon market and how carbon credits are traded, what are the challenges also associated with him? So carbon market में basically one is allowed to buy and sell the carbon credits, which is representing the right to emit a particular or a certain amount of carbon dioxide. So जो गवर्नमेंट है it limits the total carbon emissions and वो credits issue करते हैं that companies can trade. बेनिफिट्स होते हैं बट चैलेंजेस भी हैं. बेनिफिट्स फॉर एग्जांपल इंसेंटिवाइज कर सकती हैं कंपनीज टू रिड्यूस देयर इमिशंस एंड दे कैन आल्सो इन्वेस्ट इन क्लीनर टेक्नोलॉजीज. फाइनेंशियल मैकेनिज्म प्रोवाइड करते हैं टू मैनेज पोल्यूशन कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव मैनर में. बट कुछ चैलेंजेस भी हैं जैसे कि गवर्नमेंट में ओवर सप्लाई दी कार्बन क्रेडिट्स जिससे उनकी जो वैल्यू है वो रिड्यूस हो जाए एंड eventually the companies in the corporate sector is failing to reduce the emissions. Also there is a challenge of virtue signaling जिसमें हम बोल रहे हैं कि जो कंपनीज हैं दे में engage in the virtue signaling जिससे वो ऑफसेट्स परचेज कर सकते हैं जबकि अपना एक्चुअल जो एमिशन है वो उन्होंने रिड्यूस किया ही नहीं. तो ये भी एक यूनिक चैलेंज बन जाता है विद दी कार्बन मार्केट्स. बहुत सारे कॉरपोरेशंस हैं जो कि प्रेफर करते हैं वॉलंटरली कि वो रिपोर्ट करें. वॉलंटरली रिपोर्टिंग सिस्टम जैसे कि कार्बन डिस्क्लोजर प्रोजेक्ट इंस्टेड ऑफ मैंडेटरी कार्बन बजट प्रोवाइड करना पड़े उनको. सो ये बेसिकली आर्ग्यू कर रहा है पूरा आर्टिकल दैट जो कॉस्ट है वो इंक्रीज हो सकता है, सप्लाई चेन डिस्टरप्ट हो सकता है, क्या चैलेंजेस हैं, क्या प्लस पॉइंट है एंड देन क्या नेगेटिव पॉइंट है रिगार्डिंग द कार्बन मार्केट्स एंड क्या प्रेफर किया जाता है बाय मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द कॉरपोरेशंस. सो क्रिटिक है. बट क्वेश्चन यहाँ पे यही उठता है कि हाउ द गवर्नमेंट विल बी able to arrive at an optimum supply of the carbon credit कि ओवर सप्लाई भी ना हो एंड देन ऑल्सो चैलेंजेस लाइक वर्च्यू सिग्नलिंग भी हम अवॉइड कर पाए. देन व्हाई इज बीजेडी अपोजिंग द पोलवरम प्रोजेक्ट? सो बीजू जनता दल it is opposing the पोलवरम इरिगेशन प्रोजेक्ट बिकॉज वहां पे पोटेंशियल बताया जा रहा है कि it could submerge the tribal areas in the region of Odisha, मलकनगिरी डिस्ट्रिक्ट के अंदर. सो पोलवरम प्रोजेक्ट इसको डिक्लेयर किया गया था एज अ नेशनल प्रोजेक्ट अंडर द आंध्र प्रदेश रीऑर्गेनाइजेशन एक्ट 2014 जिसमें एक डैम कंस्ट्रक्ट किया जाएगा ऑन द गोदावरी रिवर. ओडिशा इट इज क्लेमिंग टू रिवाइज द डिजाइन बिकॉज बोला जा रहा है कि इट विल सबमर्ज approximately 7,000 hectares of land and it will be displacing more than 6,000 people in which approximately 9,000 will be tribals. So ये concerns raise किए गए हैं and the Central Water Commission बोला जा रहा है कि उसके ऊपर एक्शन नहीं लिया गया है. There has also been recommendations from the side of Odisha for a backwater study ताकि assess किया जाए कि submergence level कितना होगा accuracy and then also एक protective embankment provide किया जाए ताकि हम फ्लड रिस्क को कम कर पाए. सो उसी कंसर्न के ऊपर पोलवरम प्रोजेक्ट से रिलेटेड यहाँ पे कंसर्न रेज किया जा रहा है. सो मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ जल शक्ति ने भी क्लेम किया कि दैट एम्बैंकमेंट्स विल बी प्रोवाइडेड एंड दे विल प्रिवेंट सबमर्जेंस बट स्टिल ओडिशा इट रिमेन्स skeptical for the safety of the 5,000 tribals. Why simultaneous elections are impractical and complicated? इसके बारे में आज हमने डिटेल में बात की भी एंड कैसे ये रेस कर रहा है लॉजिस्टिकल एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कंसर्न. बोला गया कि ये रीजनल डायनामिक्स को ऑल्टर करेगा, हाउ इट विल बी इम्पैक्टिंग द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ फेडरलिज्म इन इंडिया, डेमोक्रेसी को कैसे इम्पैक्ट करेगा एंड साइमल्टेनियस इलेक्शंस इट विल इट बी अंडरमाइनिंग द पार्लियामेंट्री डेमोक्रेसी. as the government, it may not face timely accountability through the midterm elections. It could also incentivize the misuse of president's rule ताकि state elections को align किया जा सके with the national cycle. So conducting national and state elections simultaneously in a country of 1.4 billion people will it not be a logistical challenge, and it will require elections to be held in multiple phases. So there are concerns related to federalism, the federal structure, the basic structure of the constitution, the federal structure of India. It is supporting plurality and also decentralization of the power. जो कि बोला जा रहा है can be eroded, may be eroded by the simultaneous election. So critique किया जा रहा है and argue किया जा रहा है that the national issues they could dominate the state elections, जिसकी वजह से जो local concerns हैं वो कहीं ना कहीं छुप जाएंगे. प्रैक्टिकल इश्यूज है, फॉर एग्जांपल कॉस्ट को लेके, गवर्नेंस स्टेबिलिटी, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव एफिशिएंसी को लेके, and also major concerns which are being considered, that is concerns for the democracy of India, concerns regarding the federalism structure of India. With no school buildings, students they are attending classes under the trees in Haryana's No. Under trees and in open spaces. So ये फोटो में भी शोकेस कर रहा है that there is lack of proper infrastructure for the schools. स्कूल जो villages में होते हैं they are operating without, some schools are operating without buildings, without basic amenities, for example drinking water, electricity supply. So makeshift spaces में ही conduct की जाती हैं classes and under trees, जिसमें harsh weather conditions से भी expose हो जाते हैं बच्चे basically. तो हेल्थ कंसर्न भी उठते हैं. देन गवर्नमेंट स्कीम्स हैं एंड फंडिंग है, तो ये दिखाता है कि क्या जो स्कीम्स है वो ग्रास रूट लेवल तक नहीं पहुंच पा रही हैं. आर दी स्कीम्स ओनली ऑन पेपर, बट व्हाई आर दी स्कूल्स लैकिंग फंक्शनल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर. लैंड एलोकेशन में डिले देखा जाता है. देन ऑल्सो कंस्ट्रक्शन बॉटलनेक्स देखे जाते हैं जो कि कहीं ना कहीं प्रोग्रेस को डिले कर देते हैं. सो स्टूडेंट्स के ऊपर इम्पैक्ट आता है, कहीं ना कहीं डिस्ट्रैक्शन ज्यादा होता है, पुअर लर्निंग इन्वायरमेंट होता है, एंड उनके एजुकेशन को भी इम्पैक्ट करता है. एंड ऑल्सो बहुत सारे बच्चे धीरे धीरे इंटरेस्टेड हो जाते हैं इन अटेंडिंग द स्कूल. सो ड्रॉप आउट में भी कंट्रीब्यूट करता है. देन टीचर्स दे आर ऑल्सो फेसिंग चैलेंजेस कि कैसे वो मैनेज कर पाएंगे, कैसे वो इम्प्रोवाइज करेंगे स्पेसेस को, कैसे क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन को भी वो मेंटेन करेंगे. सो डिस्ट्रिक्ट एजुकेशन ऑफिस भी बनाया गया है एंड वो भी बेसिकली साइट कर रहे हैं कि देयर आर ब्यूरोक्रेटिक डिलेज एंड इट इज ऑल्सो कॉजिंग अ प्रॉब्लम in implementing the schemes on the grassroots level. The school has been shifted thrice, जैसे कि यहाँ पे बताया जा रहा है. Before this, it was running out of another villagers shed for some time, even out of someone's house. So ये दिखाता है कि बेसिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर होना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, अदरवाइज इट विल बी पोजिंग अ यूनिक चैलेंज. ड्रॉप आउट रेट में भी वो कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा एंड कहीं ना कहीं जो क्वालिटी ऑफ एजुकेशन है वो कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो रहा है. लेट्स टॉक अबाउट वन कैंडिडेट एंड मल्टीपल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज. सो जो प्रैक्टिस है ऑफ कैंडिडेट्स कंटेस्टिंग फ्रॉम मल्टीपल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज, it is raising a concern about democracy, about governance, and also regarding the cost. So Representation of People Act 1951 वो allow करती है candidates को to contest from more than one constituency. Basically it is aiming to provide a safety net for the candidate in case वो एक seat lose कर जाए. But ये challenges create करता है, जैसे कि financial burden. जो बाई इलेक्शंस होते हैं आफ्टर वेकेटिंग अ सीट, इट इज इम्पोजिंग अ ह्यूज कॉस्ट ऑन द गवर्नमेंट एंड ऑल्सो ऑन द टैक्स पेयर्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल 2019 इलेक्शन कॉस्ट 60 करोड़ रुपीज पर कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी. सो एथिक्स के ऊपर भी क्वेश्चन उठाता है कि क्या ये जो प्रैक्टिस है ऑफ बेसिकली वन कैंडिडेट फ्रॉम मल्टीपल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज, क्या ये प्रिंसिपल ऑफ रिप्रेजेंटेशन डेमोक्रेटिक एथिक्स के ऊपर एक चैलेंज नहीं पोज कर रहा है, एज जो वोटर्स हैं वो इलेक्ट करते हैं कैंडिडेट्स को हु मे वेकेट द सीट. सो डिफरेंट कंट्रीज जैसे कि बांग्लादेश, पाकिस्तान, वहां पे भी अलाउ किया जाता है कंटेस्टेंट फ्रॉम मल्टीपल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज, बट वहां पे नंबर को लिमिट किया गया है. यूके के अंदर जैसे बताया गया 1983 में बैन कर दिया गया इस प्रैक्टिस को. So section 33 subclause 7 of the Representation of People's Act ने बैन अमेंड किया गया, सजेस्ट किया गया रिफॉर्म के उसको अमेंड करना चाहिए ताकि वन कैंडिडेट एंड मल्टीपल कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसीज के प्रैक्टिस को हम बैन कर पाए. एंड फुल कॉस्ट ऑफ बाई इलेक्शन को हम इम्पोज करें ऑन द कैंडिडेट जो कि सीट वेकेट कर रहे हैं. एंड कहीं ना कहीं जो डिले होता है बाय इन द बाई इलेक्शन फॉर अ ईयर, तो वो डिले जो है वो अलाउ करेगा वोटर्स को टू मेक एन इन्फॉर्म्ड चॉइस. वन कैंडिडेट वन कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंसी के कॉन्सेप्ट को यहाँ पे बोला जा रहा है कि होना चाहिए. Overstaying the welcome, there is four-fold rise in the foreigners who are residing in India illegally. So overstaying visas of the foreign nationals, number sharply rise हुआ है. 56 cases were registered in 2023, पहले 12 थे. सो रीजन क्या हो सकता है ओवरस्टे का? बहुत सारे लोग क्लेम करते हैं टू हैव लॉस्ट देयर पासपोर्ट्स, दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग फॉल्स एड्रेसेस ताकि डिटेक्शन को अवॉइड कर सकें. देन सम आर रिसाइडिंग इन अनऑथराइज्ड कॉलोनीज, सो उनको ट्रैक करना डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है. सो लॉ इन्फोर्समेंट रिस्पॉन्स यही रहा है कि जो पुलिस है इट इज कंडक्टिंग रेगुलर वेरिफिकेशन ड्राइव्स एंड ऑल्सो इट इज इशूइंग लोकल लुकआउट नोटिसेस. ऑल्सो जो लैंडलॉर्ड्स हैं रेंटिंग प्रॉपर्टीज के, तो उनको बेसिकली वेरीफाई करना चाहिए अंडर द फॉरेनर्स एक्ट 1946. सो यही कंसर्न उठता है कि देयर इज नीड फॉर ग्रेटर अवेयरनेस अमंग द लैंडलॉर्ड्स ऑल्सो एंड स्ट्रिक्टर वेरिफिकेशन मेजर होना चाहिए फ्रॉम द अथॉरिटीज, ताकि इलीगल माइग्रेंट्स जो रह रहे हैं, इलीगली ओवरस्टे कर रहे हैं दी फॉरेन नेशनल्स, उनको बेसिकली डिटेक्ट किया जा सके. सो इन अ फर्स्ट, गोवा विल बी ऑनरिंग द हीरोज ऑफ लिबरेशन. So Goa was a Portuguese colony for over 450 years and freedom struggle रहा है which lasted from the mid 19th century to 1961, जो कि एक टेस्टमेंट है ऑफ ब्रेवरी एंड ऑल्सो सैक्रिफाइस विच वॉज मेड बाय मेनी हु फॉट फॉर द लिबरेशन. सो गोवाज फ्रीडम स्ट्रगल, उसी के लिए जो हीरोज हैं ऑफ द लिबरेशन उनको ऑनर किया जाएगा एंड ऑल्सो मॉनेटरी सपोर्ट भी प्रोवाइड किया जाएगा, वन टाइम मॉनेटरी सपोर्ट ऑफ 10 लाख रुपीज. सो बेसिकली ये इनिशिएटिव है ताकि हाईलाइट किया जा सके द रोल ऑफ फ्रीडम फाइटर्स फ्रॉम ऑल अक्रॉस द कंट्री हु हैड सैक्रिफाइस्ड देयर लाइव्स फॉर गोवाज लिबरेशन. जिसमें इम्पोर्टेंट इम्पोर्टेंट नेम हो जाते हैं बलरया मपारी, देन ऑल्सो बसवराज हुडगी, केशव थोरात, रोहिदास पी मपारी. सो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट लोगों को हाईलाइट किया गया है. 15 रेसिपिएंट फैमिलीज को आइडेंटिफाई किया गया है फ्रॉम 74 martyrs. उनको वन टाइम मॉनेटरी सपोर्ट प्रोवाइड किया जाएगा टू ऑनर देम and to honor the efforts which the role that they played in Goa's liberation. Next is regarding how deadly Pakistan's submarine mistook India's destroyer for aircraft carrier. So PNS Ghazi, जिसके ऊपर हमने पिक्चर भी देखी है, and पाकिस्तान की सबमरीन थी which sank during the 1971 Indo-Pakistan War, which showcases the India's Navy's strategy. So PNS Ghazi mission, Ghazi, which is Pakistan's long-range submarine, it was tasked with destroying INS Vikrant, which is India's flagship carrier, which was stationed near Vishakhapatnam. And Ghazi was misled by basically the Indian Navy decoy strategy. So Indian Navy destroyer INS Rajput, it posed as Vikrant and it generated heavy radio signals to attract basically the Ghazi submarine. And on December 3, 1973, जो INS Rajput है, it launched डेप्थ चार्जेस, जिसकी वजह से जो गाजी है बेसिकली इट एक्सप्लोडेड एंड इट सैंक. So जो sinking है of Ghazi, it eliminated a critical Pakistani naval asset, and India's navy was led by Vice Admiral Nanda, who played a pivotal role in securing the victory by blockading the East Pakistan and also after launching the airstrikes. तो हिस्टोरिकल सिग्निफिकेंस है इस पूरे इवेंट का एंड दिखाता है इंडिया का नेवल पावर एंड जो नेवल स्ट्रैटेजी है इंडिया की. And it is also linked with the 1971 war, after which culminating it led to the liberation of Bangladesh. Then we are talking about chip in fast, the India semiconductor race, and how there is need to accelerate the efforts to become competitive in the global market. So countries, for example, जो major players हैं, US, China, Japan, and also Germany, they are investing heavily in the chip production. Specifically, US की बात करते हैं तो it is aiming to control 1/3 of the global manufacturing by 2032, while China dominates with 33% of the global capacity right now. India का progress भी हो रहा है. First made in India chip 28 nm. It will be ready in 2 years. India is working on the semiconductor facilities scientifically और उसको viable बनाना. But बोला जा रहा है कि it is lagging behind the cutting edge chips like 3 nm, 2 nm, which are currently used in devices. So ये challenge दिखाता है कि जो dominance है of China in the low cost chip production एंड उसका जो प्लान है उसको और एक्सपैंड करने का कैपेसिटी को, वो कहीं ना कहीं इंडिया का जो मार्केट के अंदर एंट्री है उसको कॉम्प्लिकेट कर सकता है. जो कंपटीशन है वो उसकी वजह से बढ़ रहा है. माइक्रोसॉफ्ट, इंटेल, IBM, गूगल, दीज आर द मेजर कंपनीज जो कि डिवाइसेस में यूज करते हैं. सो रॉबस्ट सेमीकंडक्टर इको सिस्टम बनाना बहुत जरूरी है इंडिया के लिए. एंड अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी हैं क्योंकि Indian origin scientists हैं who are having expertise in advanced chips. So वो एक opportunity, unique opportunity present करता है to leverage the global talent. So India must act quickly to build the domestic capacity so that it can compete in the quantum chip revolution. जैसे आईफोन्स में करंटली 3 nm चिप यूज किया जाता है. ताइवान सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी वो इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे 2 नैनोमीटर चिप नेक्स्ट ईयर. एंड इंडिया जो है 28 नैनोमीटर अभी बेसिकली बिल्ड कर रहा है. So we have covered various important topics like open prison, then nutritional security, open air schools, one nation, one election concept, and the challenges it is posing on federalism and democracy. Two important routes to Russia, that is Eastern Maritime Corridor, which will be connecting Chennai to Vladivostok, and also the traditional route that is Mumbai to St. Petersburg route. Then the role of Moroccan companies, how it can play as a how it can act as a gateway for Europe and Africa for the Indian companies. Then issues faced by the tribal children regarding healthcare, education, skills, and also capacity building. What is the role of NGOs? The relations of India and China, also the dynamics of India and Russia, how the Syrian conflict started, who are the key players, and how it is posing a deeper question on the global security. And there is a threat for increased terrorism on sensitive issues like Kashmir. Then economic crisis of Pakistan, the wage channel challenge which is being posed on the employers and the workers in India, regulatory burdens, how we should focus on job creation. Then also POSH Act, will it apply to the political parties? A different concept regarding workspace, regarding internal complaint committee, which will be approved, which will be basically set up. Inflation of wheat and edible oil, how it is impacting the household food cost, and also the carbon market. What is the functioning of carbon market? What are the different challenges for the companies? For example, virtue signaling, oversupply of carbon credits. So these are the important topics which we covered today in the newspaper. Thank you so much everyone for joining, and keep watching and keep learning with Ansarkari.